And I think we are now live. Yes, indeed we are. Hello and welcome back to the Formula Virtual Racing GT7 League. We are here for Season 4, round number 2 at the beautiful Sainte, a track that a lot of people wouldn't put in their top 10 favourite tracks, but it's the host for the second round of this championship. My name is Nathan, your commentator for this evening, and once again, I am being joined by a fellow competitor from last season's grid up here in the commentary box.
Hello, yeah, Xavier back here again for round two. And actually calling Sainte a beautiful track is definitely a controversial opinion in my book. But we are here nonetheless in France for round two of the season. Looking forward to this one as well. Couple special areas on the grid for the Peugeot team. Let's see how this one plays out.
Yeah, it's one of the most beautiful looking tracks. Whether it drives as good as it looks, we'll have to wait and see. And the racing action from tonight will determine whether this track does warrant a place on the calendar, and we'll hear what some drivers have to say about it as well. But let's go through the starting grid for today's race. Well, yesterday's race, actually, of course. This is a replay. Starting from the back of the pack, reverse driver Maurice starts in last place in the Lamborghini, but he did feel in at the last minute, so fair play to him. In 11th place is Dominic. Had a great race last week in Dragon Trail, but this time starts just outside the top 10. Inside the top 10 is Cameron. He starts in 10th for the Audi team. And in 9th place, we have the other Mazda starting nearly next to each other in Ruben in 9th. Nearly a second quicker was Leon in 8th place in the Mercedes AMG. He starts just behind Adam, making his season debut in that beautiful pink Mercedes. On the third row of the grid in 6th place, it's our resident Frenchman, Piero. He starts his home race behind Tyler Davison, racing for the home Grand Prix of his manufacturer in the Peugeot team. He makes his first start of the season. Moving on to the front two rows of the grid, and it's Jay Easton who starts in 4th place, only 2/10 behind our Season 2 champion Ate Timgren, who as a reserve driver makes his first start of the season in the Alfa Romeo. The front row of the grid is myself in the BMW M6, qualifying 2.5 behind last week's race winner Maurizio Veldwist, who's really putting on a strong show to the start of this season in what could be a championship winning season. But it's early doors here this season. Can the Dutchman make it 2 from 2 at Sainte?
Going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. As Natty touched on there, Veldwist having a very, very good start to this season. Natty yourself, good position there in P2 as well. Lovely to see the two pink Mercedes on the grid as well. That's a very, very nice livery, it has to be said. And also good to see the return of the runner-up last season, Ate Timgren, back on the grid in that beautiful Alfa Romeo as well. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on today. But without further ado, I think we're going to go to 5 red lights anytime soon.
Yes, we are, of course, in the replay camera, so we will get it synced up. Zav, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, we'll go. 3,
right.
2, 1, let's go. Here at Sainte, we build to the 5 red lights for 16 laps of this 5.9 kilometre circuit. And we go racing at Sainte for the French Grand Prix. It's a great start off the line for Maurizio Veldwist. A terrible start from the BMW M6, who drops down into 4th place. Tyler Davison attacking on the inside. Ate looking for a move on the inside. They're 3 abreast going in towards the first corner. It's Jay Easton who leads the way through turn 1. Natty down to 6th place behind Tyler and Adam, who's moved his way up into 4th place. Ate and Maurizio going side by side in the run down towards turn 3. There's a pink car on the inside. That's Adam late on the brakes. There's contact. Ate's off and wide. They're 4 wide on the exit of turn 3. Myself up into 3rd place and Leon now up into 4th. They're 2 by 2 behind. Tyler on the inside of Piero, who have the outside for turn 5. Tyler trying to attack Piero in his French Grand Prix. Ate down to 7th, going side by side with Dominic. Tyler nearly runs wide and off the track, but what a crazy opening lap here in Sainte, and it's not over yet because here comes Piero attacking Tyler and up into 5th place.
What a start here. Easton with using the incredible launch of that Mercedes to get himself up into the lead of the race. Natty there with a little bit of a slower start, dropping a position, but we've got side by side now Piero and Davison. This isn't over between these two. Can the Frenchman improve up into the top 5 at his home Grand Prix? All over the back now of the Peugeot as they enter the middle part of this lap. Very technical section here as we enter this very, very fast sweeping right hand. And we've got the Alfa Romeo of Tim after being pushed wide earlier on in the lap. They're now going wheel to wheel. That Alfa Romeo so good in the straight line, and Piero's off the track. Piero's in the gravel. A bit of a sliding moment there in the Audi as other things calmed a little bit down this little straight into the very fast left-right chicane, mimicking sort of a reverse of Australia turn 1. Piero still side by side with the Mercedes this time now with Hans, and these are all going wheel to wheel, just about to keep it on the track. Now Kubinski's interested in the Mazda, looking to the outside line. Hans covers it off though with two Progetto Uno cars challenging each other. Now they gave us such a good battle last time out in Croatia. They're still inseparable here in France as we head now down towards the bridge in the latter stages of lap number 1 here. But what an explosive opening lap. Lots of position changes. It's going to get interesting now. Veldhuis wants to make it 2 from 2. He's going to have to work for it.
Plenty of action in the opening lap. We've got our first time penalty as well for our Season 2 champion, picking up a 5/10 penalty, I think, for cutting the turn 13-14 left-right kink at the end of the straight. Everyone has survived, though, the chaotic lap 1. Nobody's dropped too far behind the opening pack, but a great start from Easton. See him lead this race. Last week's race winner, Maurizio, drops down from a first to second by the time they will cross the lines to end the opening lap, and a decent recovery after a poor start for myself in the M6, up into 3rd place, and a great start from Leon, who finds himself inside the top 4. Ate's going to lose a couple of positions, maybe just the one to Piero, as he serves a half-second time penalty behind him. Kubinski and Hans going side by side in the run down towards the final corner. It's the Brit on the inside. Can he make the move stick? Yes, he can, but the Mazda's going to try the old up and under as they make their way down the start-finish straight. They're 2 by 2. Going in towards the first corner. In front of them, Davison and Leon fighting away for 4th place. Behind, Alto getting ahead of Pierre, and behind that, it's Hans and Kubinski still battling for 8th place. The Mercedes swooping around the outside of the Mazda.
Yes, and the top 3 is checked out here up at the front, it looks like, so far, really pulling away from the rest of the pack. And it'll be interesting to see how Ate can respond from this now. We know he's driving a lot of pace, and Alfa Romeo had a difficult opening lap. It'll be crucial now to see if he can get past Leedies and Davison in front. Davison, though, no easy competitor whatsoever. He does not give a quarter when you are racing him. Very quick himself as well. Let's see what he can do in the Peugeot in their home race as the events develop here. But coming back up here to the front, top 3 still so close together, nose to tail here is Easton and Veldhuis coming under pressure now from Natty. Having a look up the inside into the next corner, backs out of it though at the last possible moment. Did not want to shear off the front nose cone of that BMW as we now enter the middle sector of the lap. Things are looking good up here for the top 3 at the moment, but a lot of very, very challenging battles behind us. Ate now going down the inside of Leedies into the right hand. Gets to be done, goes into the grass actually, that might not be completely done. Pierre looking injured now as well. Does that give him a bit of a bite, a bit of an opportunity to try and get the up and under? Leedies coming back at Ate now. Oh, he's in the gravel again, and he's on wide, and they're 3 wide almost there momentarily now as Piero ducks back into the slipstream. Leedies are going to have to defend from this now into the next corner, you would think. Purple sectors being set left, right and centre. Here comes Piero up the inside into turns 14 and 15. Can he make the move stick on the inside? Yes, he can. Gets it done. Has a slide on the exit for good measure. Some extra style points there for the Frenchman. What an opening to this race it's been so far. Ate going around the outside as he backs out of it. That would have been one hell of a move. He could have pulled it off, but no dice there at the moment. Lap 2 of this race has already been pretty insane.
Only lap 2, and a lot of gravel's being thrown up onto the track on the exit of turn 10. A few drivers running wide in the opening few laps. Piero now into the top 5. He's got pressure from a lot of cars behind him as they go over the bridge. For the second time this race is Leon going to try and attack down towards this right-left chicane. Quite an awkward corner if you're not already alongside. Behind Kubinski and Hans battling away once again for 8th place as they join the back of this train. But what's interesting to note about the front 3, the top 2 are on the mediums, but there's a BMW M6 that's opted for a different tyre compound in the form of the red striped soft compound tyre. So we'll have to wait and see how much progress I can make on that faster tyre. But there is this big battle behind as well that's going on for 5th place. Leon hits the outside barrier on the exit of the penultimate corner, and that could give Ate an attack into the final corner, but I don't think the Alfa Romeo is going to be close enough to go for it. But behind them...
You've got hands up the inside of Kubinski into the last corner. These are giving it everything now as we come on to the end of lap number 2. Hans clears the Mazda going onto the main straight. Can he duck into the slipstream, have a go in towards turn 1? Hans is not going to go defensive so far. Here comes Kubinski up the inside. He's going to make this difficult. Squeeze him towards the pit wall. Ducks back in at the last moment. He's going to have a go under the brakes. Is he? No, not enough. Let's try and sling a move down the inside of the Mercedes there into turn 1. But nonetheless, a very entertaining race so far. Hill and Ruben kind of being detached at the back here, and plays in a very difficult opening couple of laps, finds himself now a long way behind at the back of the pack. We're coming back up here to this titanic battle for 5th place so far, it must be said. These guys giving it everything. Ate now tucked up behind the Mercedes of Leadys, very close. Could he have a go here? We know how good that Alfa Romeo is in the straights in the straight line, and we have to have a look at see if he can get past, but Hans actually makes a move on Kubinski. These two still battling Kubinski, and back up the inside. This isn't over. It's going to get personal between these two at this rate. Kubinski has to duck back in though. That Mercedes just has enough traction on the exits to keep himself ahead of the Mazda, although Kubinski's coming back up the inside. Is he into the next corner? Can he make this move stick down the inside? He goes. He's going to squeeze Hans out towards the grapple and get 8th place back. But all the while, these two spent battling, and that's the other two get out ahead. But that being said, Tim now down the inside of Leadys gets the move done nice and cleanly there, up into 6th place for the Finn.
Yeah, this battle in the midfield is certainly beginning to kick off 3 laps into this race. It's allowed the front 3 to get a bit of breathing space to the cars behind. Tyler's just kind of pulled himself out of that battle. He's got the gap to Pierre and might be starting to close down that gap to the front 3 as Easton sets the new fastest lap of the race with a 3:06 flat. But what's interesting to note is the progress on the soft compound tyres from myself probably isn't as much as you'd have thought. Hasn't really closed down that gap to Maurizio, and still sits in 3rd place.
Yeah, definitely maintaining position now on those soft tyres. I think it's going to be more important to see the gap that he can pull, now that you can pull even, to even to buy. Oh, that was Piero going pretty... very wide there going onto the bridge. I think he's gotten away with it though. Coming under pressure now from Ate in the Alpha. As we actually, it's a very picturesque circuit. I will definitely give it that. Definitely looks good. So does the Vodafone Audi there as well, and the Peugeot in front. Oh, we've got more battling here at the back, haven't we? With Kubinski and Hans. Oh, Hans almost loses it on the exit. That was very close. I'm going to go wheel to wheel now into the next sector, but Hans has Kubinski covered at the moment. I'm going to fast forward my thing a little bit because I'm a bit behind. Oh, and they're still wheel to wheel going into the end of the lap. And this is going to get very close between these two as Hans now round the outside gets the move done, and Kubinski has 4th to tuck back in. Yeah, I was going to say, very explosive 3 laps. Definitely a good race that we're having here so far. Let's see how the strategy plays out, though. As you're saying, Natty, I think it's mix up here between the 1 and the 2 stop potentially. It's such a long lap here.
Yeah, we've got all 3 tyre compounds on the show this evening at the start of this race. Myself, of course, on the softs. I think Ruben has started this race on the hard compound tyres. Everyone else, I think, has opted to start on the mediums to go a little bit longer as Kubinski runs wide through turn 1, kicks up grass onto the racing line in his battle with Adam. It's a 3-way fight for 7th place. These guys just beginning to become detached slightly from those inside the top 5. Ate still keeping up to the back of Piero's Audi R8, going purple through the first sector. Easton improves on his fastest lap by a 10th, and if he can keep it by the end, will gain an extra point in the championship. But these guys at the front are yet to pit for the soft compound tyres and could go even quicker later on in the race. Hopefully for them quicker than what's currently being displayed by the only soft tyre runner at the start of this grid. Still stuck in 3rd place behind Maurizio Veldhuis. And, well, there's not long left before those softs begin to die. And, well, if anything, I need to start making a bit of a move on here.
Yeah, Nancy, you need to start making a bit of an impression. As he's saying on the... Come on, me! You need to start making an impression here on the cars in front if he wants to make use of these tyres properly. I think for now, sitting in the slipstream, those tyres are going to be burning up a bit. Obviously, the turbulent air coming off the back of that McLaren not going to be helping tyre management either. But Easton up here at the front, really pulling away so far, finding it very comfortable in that Mercedes AMG GT. One of my favourite cars in this game, and again, I have to say, very beautiful livery, distinctive as well on that car. It's battle for second now, starting to heat up. Natty still just stuck behind there, about half a second behind. The McLaren in fifth gear, I remember, is an absolute beast. The fifth gear in that car goes on forever, so not an easy car to overtake as Bada Big as a bit of a squirm getting onto the bridge. And Natty keeping it nice and clean though there on the supplies, has to be said so far. And yeah, let's see if he can make an impression on the cars in front as we get towards the first pit stop.
I think the pit window for the soft compound tyres will be between lap 5 or 7 for a one stop. Most drivers should be able to take the softs and the mediums a far enough distance in order to make that one stop work. Behind, Piero's picked up a half-second time penalty, so he is likely to lose this position to Ate in the battle for 5th place. The Alfa Romeo looking to get past the Audi as he runs over the inside curve. That really unsettles the Audi through that high-speed right-hander, I think, is turn 19.
Piero with the slide of the century coming out of that corner. The Audi, it's quick, but it's so difficult to get the lap time out of. You really have to drift it around like something out of a Fast and Furious movie to try and wrestle it around the corners. But Piero doing an excellent job here so far, trying now to make up for that mistake. We've got side by side into turn 1. Natty making the move. He's done it on the soft tyres, gets ahead of Veldhuis on the mediums, finally making use of that tyre advantage to put himself now up into second place onto the podium. Can he chase down Easton, or is Veldhuis going to have a go here back up the outside? Can he get the up and under? Can he get the cut back? Nah, Natty hasn't covered so far, but now there's another opportunity, another left-hander. Can Bada Big get through? Can he snip an opportunity to get past the BMW? No, not at this stage. Tucks in behind, maybe knows Natty on a different compound of tyres here, and just biding his time, waiting for Natty to make that first pit stop, and then we're going to see what kind of pace he really has on those medium compound of tyres. Davison now a little bit more detached from your front two, running his own race so far in third place, but interestingly here, with the better tyre wear, or with the best tyre wear even, of the top 4 cars, that Peugeot looking very good in terms of time management so far, but the battle for 7th is still really, really hot here. 7th, 8th and 9th separated by less than 2 seconds. Hand's going to go up the inside, not going to make it stick. Has a sniff there at the back of Kubinski. That's going to be an absolute takeout if he'd gone for it, so wise decision making there from the Brit, as this battle's going to rage on for the next 11 laps here for sure.
They've been swapping positions lap after lap, corner after corner. They both run wide through turn 10. Leon running a little bit wider than the pair of them as he struggles to maintain that 1 second gap to stay in the slipstream. That vital slipstream window in this game can really help out your lap times, especially at this track, which has such a fast final sector, 2 really long straights. I don't know what it's like in qualifying, but you can certainly gain, I think, 4 to 6 tenths of a second, perhaps, probably, if you've got a good toe down both of those straights. Meanwhile, like you were saying, Tyler's tyre wear in that Peugeot is comparable to the cars around him. He's much better than quite a few of the drivers in front. Maurizio all over the back though of that BMW M6 as they exit the bridge for the 5th time tonight. I think there's only a couple of laps left in those soft compound tyres, and they're not really making roads on the race leader. Yeah, definitely not really. It's going to be difficult for Natty to make up that time now before his tyres begin to fall off. Just running on board here with Veldhuis. He's going to be able to draw the back of that BMW from memory at this point. Oh, the front just washing out there through the long right-hander in the dirty air. That did not look fun whatsoever. We could even see him drop back a bit here. Just look after the tyres. Natty's on a different strategy. It could be a smart way for him to play this. I think it's actually short shifting as well here so far, as I'm seeing on the... Yeah, he is short shifting. So not using the full extent of that McLaren's power. I think Veldhuis can definitely go a bit faster in this race. He's just biding his time for now, saving some fuel, saving the tyres, and it's
Crucially, though, it is letting Davison catch up to him a little bit now. That gap visually over the last few laps has come down a bit. Yeah, on the last lap, Davison 2 seconds quicker than Veldhuis on the same compound of tyre. This battle's going to get heated up and going to get interesting very, very soon.
It is, and I don't think it helps Maurizio's lap times that he has a boat in front of him on wearing, dying soft compound tyres that I think will fade at the end of this lap. Lap 6, I think, is the target for soft compound tyres. Then it's how long can you take the mediums to the end of the race. It's quite a long lap here at Sainte. Of course, 5.8 miles, I think 9.5 kilometres long, so it kind of washes out a chance of an effective 2-stop with the pit lane not being too long, but it is quite hard to make up that time in the number of laps that there are. Only 16 laps. We're on lap 6 of them, looking at the driver in 6th place, but behind them for 7th place, Adam and Dominic fighting away, trading positions. This time the Brit in the Mercedes is ahead of the Mazda, but for how much longer? Because Kubinski's going to fight this one back to the outside of turn number 7. I think, for 7th place. They're still going to go wheel to wheel. The camera angle would follow the drivers through the corner instead of looking at the barrier. Adam defensive to the inside of turn 10 and ahead for now. Kubinski, though, will fight this one back.
Yeah, Hans lives for another day here in the battle for 7th place. Things are getting interesting here. Those medium tyres going to start to wear themselves as well, though. As you were saying, around lap 10 we're expecting the medium runners to start making their way into the pit lane. I'm more interested to see how Natty, or how yourself even, Natty, navigates this potential in-lap here, as your soft tyres are particularly dead. Last lap at 307.4, compared that to Easton at 307.1 in the Mercedes. So things actually not looking too bad in terms of pace, medium compared to the soft now. This could be a bit of a crossover point between the two tyres. But yeah, cars behind going a lot faster. Davison the second quicker than the leader on the last lap. That was the fastest man on track last lap, as well as Kubinski and Hans again. They're side by side now coming down the bridge in the battle for 7th place. Hans on the inside. Can he make a move here? Tucks in behind the Mazda. Maybe late on the brakes if he goes for it. No, ducks back in. Again, some very wise decision making here from these two. No one going for anything too ludicrous as it stands. Speaking of non-ludicrous driving, he's now in front now, just extending his gap really to the cars behind. And will Natty come in at the end of this lap? That's going to be one of the major points of intrigue, because it gives us a lot of insight as to when the first and potentially only round of stops is going to be. Natty round the final corner. Does he stay out? Does he come into the pits? He is, yeah, going to go into the pits. Doesn't cut the pit lines, so no 3-second penalty there. Let's see what tyres he decides to go on to. As I believe, do we have any more battles out here on track coming into the pits?
Adam's picked up damage. I don't know what's happened in the battle for 8th place, apologies, but Adam Hans has picked up damage to the front right suspension. Might have been contact between him and Dominic. They've been battling all race long, but where will Natty and Piero come out in this battle for 6th place? They're going to be behind both of the Mazdas, behind Adam, but ahead of Cameron. And well, after a relatively short poor stint on the soft compound tyres, it's important that BMW now gets a move on through the traffic. Piero pitting very early from the mediums onto the softs. It's a splash and dash for the Audi R8. I think this confirms a 2-stop for the Frenchman, who now really has to put his foot to the floor and make moves in this race.
That's interesting. Now going for the 2-stop. Piero going aggressive here. He's going to have to clear Natty very quickly and get back up to the slower cars in front on a different compound of tyre to make this one work. He's going to have a sniff of Natty into the next corner. I think you can hear us in the commentary box. He's going to have a look again into the next corner. No, can't make it work here. But as we saw from Natty, it's not the easiest task to get past another car here, even with the advantage of a tyre compound. So there's a small chance Piero could get trapped here behind the BMW. Needs to make this move as quickly as possible. Now it's going to be interesting to see how the leaders respond, because with Piero coming in this early, they might not know how much fuel he's put in, but they will have been able to see that his tyre compound might have changed. So it should be interesting to see how they respond to this. Let's see if Easton comes to the pits at the end of this lap. But Natty as well, another driver, having to put his foot down. Got a 1 second penalty actually for Veldhuis, as Kabinski and Hans, their race-long battle going to continue here into the last left, right. Oh, side by side. A lot of respect being given by these two, has to be said. Really good battle so far. Piero has gotten past Natty already, so that has happened on this outlap for the Frenchman. Hans and Kabinski now still side by side. This is costing them time. Two the cars behind, crucial in terms of overall race time, but Hans going back up the inside onto the bridge and holds the position for now.
Yeah, this could get interesting with these two battling away side by side on the bridge. They've got two cars behind them on fresh, medium and soft compound tyres that will be wanting to get past as soon as possible. There's still another 3 laps before these guys will be expected into the pits. Piero up into 9th place ahead of myself.
I thought he was going to go down the inside of Ruben there for a second. That's going to be a very audacious move. Kabinski picks up a half-second penalty now for exceeding track limits. They're still wheel-to-wheel, though, Hans and Kabinski. At the end of this long, never-ending, just goes on forever, right-hander. Piero round the outside of Ruben in the background. Can he convert it up the inside? Oh!
Kabinski hits Hans, who's Piero's nearly hit the side of the Mercedes. At the exit, the penultimate corner. Through goes myself, through the middle of all of them. Ahead of Piero now. Kabinski drops down to 9th place. Adam behind him. I think he lifts off the throttle to give the place back after he tried the up and under. Marriott on the inside of Ruben through the final corner, and that allows Piero to have a sniff on the right hand side of the circuit. The Audi alongside the BMW down the start finish straight, but the two that have been side by side for the last 8 laps in this race have finally come together at the penultimate corner, and now they run in 9th and 10th place. The damage has been fixed, but a lot of time has been lost.
That's certainly true. Marriott now going up the inside of Ruben into turn 2. Piero going down the inside of Ruben into turn 3. Opportunistic there. Smelled an opportunity, took it, got past up into 7th place. That was fantastic from Piero in the Audi there. Still trying to get past or re-overtake even Marriott. Unlucky to get caught up in that crash, and a battle that had been so clean up until that point. Unfortunate, but it kind of had that little asterisk against it now. But Piero needs to get a move on with it now, trying to get past Natty and get himself up into P6 to get after the top 5 as well. Levy's just up the road as we're entering the pit window now for this medium tyre runners. Think about coming into the pits, changing over those tyres. Easton still extending his gap up at the front, 3/10 quicker than Davison on the last lap. The leaders have not responded so far to the cars behind, but Ate as well has closed up a lot to the back of Veldhuis, and something that we kind of saw a lot last season. Battle between these two, normally able to keep it clean. Let's see if they can continue that trend going into round 2. Come back down here though to Natty and Piero, as Natty, will he go defensive here? Going to stay over to the left-hand side of the circuit for now. Very wide track here. Piero going to have a sniff up the inside. Natty lets him have it. They're still wheel-to-wheel. The Audi just having the grunt there, but goes over the curve. That could be a penalty for Piero. We're definitely outside the track limits. Does get a penalty, does get a half-second penalty. So that's going to be costly there for the French, and have to re-overtake Marriott again. Needs to cut out some of these mistakes and wants to keep hold of his 6th place, costing him time now on that 2-stop strategy.
Yeah, both of them lost a lot of time on the last lap with that collision in front of them, and even more time lost with a half-second time penalty. Hopefully for Piero, he can have a really good Sector 4, or Sector 5, sorry, and build up a big enough gap before they get to the penalty gate so that he doesn't have to get back past that M6. But with all this battling in the midfield, we haven't really shown much of the top 4 or 5. We've talked about them a lot in respect to their tyres and strategy, but not much in terms of their performance. Easton continuing to extend his lead out in front on his debut this or last evening, I should say. Davison into 2nd place. Veldhuis from pole now runs in 3rd place, being hunted down by Ate, and it was this time last season in the 2nd round of the championship where it was Veldhuis chasing down Timgren for the lead of the race at Road at Lanza, and how the tables have been turned here at Sainte. They're now battling for the final spot on the podium. Leon having a great race so far inside the top 5. And then there's our closest battle out on track for 6th place at the minute between myself and my former teammate.
Yeah, and as we hit a bit of a cooler period during the race, all of our cars fairly spaced out right now. Natty, what's going through your head at this point in the race? Obviously, you've made that stop on the alternate strategy now. What are you thinking? Is it just try and stick behind Piero, try and save those tyres for later on, or just push out as fast as you can, battle with Piero, and just try and make his life a bit more difficult?
I think I didn't know how much fuel Piero put in at the time. Or what tyres he went onto. So the aim was really to push as much as I could to keep with him, to try and gain back the time lost on that soft tyre stint. Of course, running in P3 on the softs isn't much of an achievement when you start on the front row of the grid. And so it's about trying to close down as much time as I could to those in the top 3, 4, even the top 5. So I had a big enough gap when they pitted for the softs that I could hopefully defend for quite a few more laps towards the end of the race.
Speaking of the top 5, there's been a change in that order. Ate getting past Veldhuis earlier on in the lap. Now the McLaren sat behind the Alfa Romeo here. Can he make a move again? I've been saying how that McLaren is so good in the end of that 5th gear range, but the Alfa Romeo pulling away actually in a straight line. I think Ate's just taking care of his tyres actually a lot better. That front left especially, Ate's been taken care of very, very well. Obviously the majority of corners, or the high-speed corners around this track, being right-handers. That means Tim's doing an excellent job there, looking after his tyres, managing the pace over the course of the whole stint. Gets a bit squirrely going onto the bridge there, but nonetheless doing a great job and up into 3rd place so far.
Yeah, such a tricky corner going onto the bridge because there's a little bit of a bump on the apex of the corner. You've really got to feather the throttle so you don't catch that bump too much, which will just throw you wide and off the track, and you'll be greeted with grass and a one-way ticket to the barrier. But Timgren, having had that lap 1 incident on the exit of turn 3, now finds himself in 3rd place. It's been a great recovery drive from him. It's how much more inroads he can make in this race. He's only got 2 cars in front of him, but there is quite a bit of a gap between himself and the race leader if he's to claim maximum points on his for his first race of the season. And well, it's so hard to tell without the deltas how far behind I am to the race leader. Speaking of, trying to go for a move on Leon through the inside of the long right-hander. Now trying to go round the outside, brakes a little bit too late, onto the marbles, into the grass, and that could allow Piero to get back past and up into 6th place. I now drop into 7th in hunting Leon as Maurizio Veldhuis makes his first stop of the race.
Should be for the soft compound here, as the McLaren comes into pit lane. Leedy's behind making a stop as well, that you can see on your screen, seeing how much fuel goes in to the McLaren. Pit out now, 51 litres of fuel, 51% comes out behind Piero, behind Natty, crucially as well. And that means now that Natty's been able to jump Veldhuis in the pits, maintain his 2nd position overall, but a big task awaits him to defend from that McLaren for the next 6 laps. He wants to hold on to a podium here.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tough job. The gap, not as big as you would have probably thought it would have been. There's only, a couple of seconds between that BMW and the McLaren, so Veldhuis will catch up relatively easy, and it's quite a wide track here at Sainte, which shouldn't make the overtaking too difficult, but we saw how difficult it was for the M6 to get past the McLaren. How will it be when the tables have been turned and now it's the McLaren attacking the BMW?
Let's definitely have a look here. I think the BMW in theory should have an advantage in a straight line. The McLaren though, so good under traction, the rear end really able to squat down, give the driver the grip and the confidence that they need off the corner exits. It's going to be interesting to see how this battle plays out for sure. But now that Veldhuis come into the pits, we're going to start to see the top 3 come in as well, because obviously Ate in particular will be needing to respond to Veldhuis in order to not lose any of his track position that he's built up so far. Those medium tyres now looking very worse for wear on that Alfa Romeo, and ditto for the Mercedes leading the pack here. But so far he's doing an absolutely fantastic job, led from the front at the end of lap 1, and so far things looking good for the Englishman in his first race.
Yeah, he's controlled the race for the first 30 minutes. He's only got another 7 laps to go, 6 when we cross the line. The undercut is quite powerful here because it's a long technical track, so when you pit you got 3 minutes of a fresh set of tyres. But of course, that does come back to bite you at the end of the race when you have to do another 3 minutes on a Warner set of tyres. Let's see if any of the top 3 do come into the pits. Of course, we have to wait a whole 3 minutes to see if anyone's going to undercut or overcut here. Really does build up the tension in terms of the strategy. They're now top 2 down the third straight, would you call it? Or maybe the fourth straight, I don't know, in the run down towards the final corner.
One of the straights. One
of the many straights here at Sainte Croix. Looks like Easton's staying out for another lap on those mediums. What about Tyler behind? Follows the race leader. But Ate will probably be looking to react to the Veldhuis. And indeed he does. Darts over to the right-hand side. Did he cross the white line? It looked very close on his right-hand side tyres.
Yeah, that did look very close. I'm not too sure he got away with that. We'll have our answer when he comes out of the pits, I suppose. But where does he come out now in relation to Piero, Nati and Badabig? This fight for P4 on track. Obviously, Piero likely another stop to make, though, in this race. Tim puts the fuel in. Going to come out behind these 3. They've all managed to maintain track position and undercut him. 50% fuel going into the Alfa Romeo. Onto a set of a soft. Sorry, my screen had not updated there. I was very confused. Nati now coming back at Piero. Piero's soft tyre is aging very quickly. He's going to go down the inside into turn 3, is he? Can he make the stick up the inside? It's a very wide track here. Piero's going to have the overlap on the outside to maintain track position. They're still wheel to wheel, door to door, going through turn 4, and Nati managing to just streak ahead. Veldhuis trying to give a bit of a boost behind as well. He wants past Piero also. As they're going to go 3 wide into the next corner. Nati around the outside. Can he get this? Can he make it stick? They're still wheel to wheel. What a battle here for 3rd position on track. Could turn into the battle for 2nd overall once the cars ahead have come into the pits. Piero, though, maintains track position. Veldhuis looking interested on the outside. Has to look back in behind the Audi. Nati now on the defensive as Veldhuis going around the outside. Oh, what a move! What a move by the Dutchman round the outside of Nati. He definitely wants to try and make this 2 from 2 here so far. Going for the undercut against the cars in front as Easton has actually chosen to stay out for another lap. We didn't mention that earlier before. And Davison copying him so far in this race. But Piero there not wanting to cede track position to the cars behind. He wants to keep a hold of this, make their life difficult. But now Veldhuis has the unenviable task of trying to both attack and defend at the same time. So it's going to be interesting to see how he manages that. But on the back of Piero already going into turn 14, going to have a look at the inside. No, backs out of it there, does not go for that move. Piero wide again, though. That's going to give him all the chance he needs. Oh, gets a bit fishtaily on exit. Badabig now around the outside for the next left hand. Piero picks up a penalty, goes wide as well into the corner. And Veldhuis with the up and under gets the move done up into 3rd position. That half-second penalty there is going to really cost Piero. He could see him come into the pits at the end of his lap just to try and offset that a little bit here as I go onto the bridge now for the 11th time, the closing stages of this Grand Prix. Badabig gets himself up into 3rd position. He needs to use Piero now as a bit of a wedge between himself and Nati, make use of those soft tyres and pretty much disappear here, try to get Arthur Davison and Easton in front of him.
2 beautiful moves from Veldhuis, 2 crucial moves in this stage of the race to get himself up into 3rd place. That might not be his true position. Remember, he did start this race on pole position, but our new race leader dives into the pits here at the end of lap 11. Davison follows him in. Were those moves made quick enough for Veldhuis, or was that battling in front of him between myself and Piero enough to slow him down and hold him up and stop him from taking the lead of the race? Tyres going on to the Mercedes and the Peugeot. Fuel going into the back of the cars. Veldhuis rounds the final corner. This could be close. This could be a race-defining moment. Easton is released. Davison's released. Where's Veldhuis? Alongside Davison and ahead into turn 1. But it's Easton who leads the race on pit exit with 2 lap pressure soft compound tyres.
crucial moves in this race. Davison now with it to do to get past. Marriott losing out there kind of on that harder compound of tyres now. Will he be able to hold on to the top three? Piero comes in for his second stop. Going to drop back down now towards 9th and 10th places. But now this is the battle on track for the win. The gap to the out in front has come down significantly. Battlefield will be pushing now as hard as he can to catch up to the cars in front. And ditto for Tyler Davison now with a lighter car, with fresher tyres. Should it be easy pickings in theory, but goes wide. That's going to cost him some time through the middle sector here as well. But those tyres obviously already up to temperature for Veldhuis in the McLaren. It's going to take a bit of a lap and a bit maybe for Davison to get some heat into his tyres, and the same for the race leader out in front now. But now this race is going to explode in terms of action here. I'm going to have a very, very close run into the finish. Tim Good as well, not that far behind on a set of the soft compound tyres. Can he catch up to Natty and try and get an extra position forward in this race? His first race of the season, obviously. Ate entering as a reserve here after losing out last year to the man who actually isn't here this evening, is he? Our reigning world champion.
No, Jenson Taylor absent from this race, which means for the first two races of the season he will be scoring 0 points, which is a huge blow for his title defence. But for Veldhuis' title attack, he's now running in second place, but has a job on his hands to try and defend from Tyler Davison on 2-lap fresher soft compound tyres. And we've seen how much the tyres can and also cannot make a difference here at this circuit. We saw myself struggle to get past Veldhuis on the softs, but how easy it is to at least go side by side for a decent chunk of this track. The first sector really does promote side by side action with its long radius corners and a right followed by a left. Really does promote a lot of overtaking, but the middle sector promoting a lot of mistakes to be made, especially with the track limits.
As you're speaking of track limits, Natty, would you like to explain to the lovely ladies and gentlemen at home why you have a 1 second time penalty?
Yes, I would actually, but I was hoping you wouldn't notice that. You know, everyone has been picking up a half-second time penalty for going over the inside curve of that fast left-hander of turn, I think, 12. I decided to get punished with a 1 second time penalty instead, because I'm just that fast. So I slowed down at the penalty gate, and I think likely, yes, will lose the position to the Flying Finn, who flies up into 4th place, and he now has a clear track in front of him to challenge for a spot on the podium as Tyler hunts down Maurizio Veldhuis.
Going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Lap 13 of 16 being started now. As they cross the line, not loads of time left for Davison to make this move, and the same for Ate to try and catch up to the cars in front. But already here, the tyres on that Alfa Romeo really not looking too good, actually, compared to the McLaren and the Mercedes in front. Similar lifespan that Tim's been on those tyres for, similar length of time as Ruben makes his stop from the hard tyres. A big stint from the Spaniard. Going to go on to a set of a soft to end this race, and I just still can't get over how good this car both looks and sounds. I think it is like almost perfect for this that body of car there for the Progetto Uno teams. Still, though, Veldhuis and Davison now very close in the battle for second place. Easton's kind of checked out at the front again, just showing why he's been so dominant so far in this race. Ate actually setting the fastest lap of the race in that last lap as Davison down the inside of Veldhuis into, I'm going to assume it's like turn 7 or 8, so they now go up the hill and then down into wall. There's a bit of contact actually as they go into the right-hander. Davison, though, round the outside gets the move done for now, but Veldhuis will looking for a way to sneak back up the inside of his British rival as Peugeot putting on a show here for their home fans. One car on the podium so far with not too long left to run in this race. Could get interesting here up at the front.
Yes, a crucial Davison dive bomb down in the third sector actually, 6 sectors here at Sainte Croix. Now can he mount an attack on our race leader? It's a British 1-2, but in which order will they finish? They're both on the same set of tyres, the same tyre life, but it's Mercedes against Peugeot. Can the Peugeot finish its home Grand Prix on the top step of the podium? We'll have to wait and see. little bit of a disappointment, well, not disappointment, but unfortunate, I think, for Piero. The two-stop not really working well in his favour. Started this race in 6th place, is down in 7th, but on the attack on Leon on those fresher soft compound tyres, it's about a second between the Mercedes and the Audi with the final 3.5 laps left of this race. A race that started with a huge battle in the midfield, but now all our eyes turn to whether Tyler Davison can win this race and hunt down Jay Easton for the number 1 spot on the podium.
Piero going up the inside of Leedy to squeeze him up to the fence on the bridge as they're going into the next right-hander. Piero claims the inside. He's going to swipe back to the left-hand side, try and get the up and under. They'll go around the outside as he turns to a left-hander pretty quickly. Piero has him covered off, though, and goes back up into 6th position. Leedy's dropped a position to 7th. The softs on that Mercedes looking very worn indeed. Piero should be able to stretch his legs now. Can he get after Natty? Not too much time to make up for the mistake, really, of going for that 2-stop. We have to wait and see how this plays out. There could be an instant up ahead in the top 5, which could give him a chance. Natty into the pits. You're in. Okay, Natty onto a 2-stop as well. That's a bold call. That's a bold call, Nathan. So gets off the medium compound of tyre. Is this the fastest lap attempt maybe from the BCMR team?
It certainly is. The gap to Piero big enough to come in and come out ahead of the Audi. Maintains 5th position and an attempt for the fastest lap with 3 laps to go, but we'll have 2 attempts at it. Current fastest lap 3:04.0 for our race leader, 7 tenths quicker than the pole time set by Maurizio Veldhuis. Of course, we do have a lower fuel as we've done over 40 minutes of racing here at Sainte. So with a low tank, fresh tyres, can the M6 beat that time and take home an extra point? We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see whether Tyler can close down that gap to Shea Easton. 3:04.3 compared to a 3:04 flat. The Mercedes going quicker than the Peugeot.
Yeah, just taking the fastest lap of the race so far on that last one as Easton really stretching his legs up at the front. That Lewis Hamilton helmet giving him the extra speed he needs perfectly so far here in round 2 of the FVR season. Dominant display so far from the Mercedes driver. We'll have to see if Davison can react to the pace being set up at the front. The top 3 kind of spaced out a bit now. Gaining by 3 tenths on Veldhuis on that last lap. Likely not going to be enough to overcall the gap between the 2 cars at present, unfortunately for him, as he goes wide actually through turns 14 and 15. But again here, we're actually seeing the soft tyres really not last that long. Veldhuis already struggling on that set of soft tyres. Ate's tyres look a lot better than his so far, and obviously Natty going to see if he can get into the 3-minute 03s. In the remaining 2 laps of the race. But yeah, and looking here, drivers fairly spaced out. Even Kabinski and Hans have managed to find some daylight between themselves in this race. Kabinski's tyres a bit more worn than his rivals at the minute. Not been the greatest race to project to, Oh, Tim's hit the wall! Tim's hit the wall and got damage.
A rare mistake on the exit of the bridge, and that could be his attack over for a spot on the podium.
And that actually genuinely could, but does that now give Natty an opportunity to close up to the back of the Finn, maybe make an overtake here? Damage here for the Aston Martin. Veldhuis now will be feeling a lot safer up there in 3rd place. An uncharacteristic mistake from the cool-headed Finn Ate Timgren, and now with a bit of a job to do here at the end of this race. He wants to get onto the podium for certain.
Oh, it's going to be a bit more of a job because look what's happening here. He's pulling over to the right-hand side and he's diving into pit lane. This could be another attempt for the fastest lap, but does he have the gap?
Surely with the bridge crash, he's not going to have enough of a gap. But the driver's not feeling confident then in the lifespan of these soft tyres here, Natty. This could get very interesting towards the end of this race. A lot of drivers have come off the 1, converted to the 2. Tim comes out behind Marriott, and now these are going to be battling it out to the end of the race, the final 2 laps. But for Veldhuis, who had worse tyres than Timgren before the stops, can he get to the end without a puncture? That's going to be a very interesting thing to see here, because his tyres are wearing down a lot. doesn't have the gap to Marriott to make the pit stop and come out ahead. So the decision making here from the third place man could be injured. He goes wide again, really struggling on those tyres. This could still get very interesting at the end. There's still a long way to go here for the final. Don't forget, it's a 3-minute lap that we have here, so nearly 5 minutes of racing still left for something to happen, but the top three barely spaced out at the moment. Davison a tad quicker than Easton on the last lap, a 3:04.5 compared to a 3:04.7, so 2/10 in Davison's favour. Can Peugeot claim a home race victory here for the manufacturer? Their first would be their first manufacturer win in FVR history as well. And yeah, I hope they can bring something home special for the French fans here.
Yeah, it's a special livery, a one-off on that Peugeot for this race. Their home Grand Prix, of course, here in Sainte Croix. Can they go one better than second and take race victory from a man who's looked so calm and cool up at the front of the field on his debut for the FVR GT League? We'll have to wait and see, but it looks like it's in control for the Mercedes. Is it in control, though, for Ate Timgren? Does he think he has the pace to not only get the fastest lap, but close down that gap to, well, myself, who's also going for the fastest lap? So there's not too much differences in terms of the lifespan on the soft compound tyres. Only one lap between the two. Beltway so close to getting a puncture in that McLaren, but when you're racing on track, you don't know how much the drivers around you are burning through their tyres. Maybe Ate thought his chances was to, or had a better chance of getting one extra point in fourth than attacking for third. But that BMW's going purple through sector 4. He's only got two more sectors to try and get one extra point in this championship.
Well, crucially here as well, if Ate can get into the slipstream of the BMW in front, that's going to give him a huge advantage in the battle for the fast lap of the race. Of course, Natty was saying earlier, one extra championship point for the driver who sets the fastest lap of the race. So obviously Ate trying desperately to close up to the back of Marriott, try and steal that slipstream, get that fast lap, get the extra point across the line. Natty doing anything he can for BCR's Constructors Championship fight so far. As around the final corner now, let's see if he gets into the 3-minute 03s. It's been a few purple sectors here for the Brit. Round the final corner, up to the line. Let's see what he can do. Going to be a 3 minutes. Does get it, 3-minute 3.7. Okay, so that's the gauntlet thrown then to the drivers behind, to Ate behind. That's the margin he has to catch up on to try and take the fast lap away from Marriott here at the end of this race. And it's definitely started explosively, calming down a bit now, but just coming back down here, Natty, to the battle for 7th between Hans and Levy's. Hans' tyres are a lot better than Levy's. Levy's going to have a punch here for sure on this last lap of the race, so this is going to get explosive here. One final tour of the Sainte Croix circuit then that separates 8th and 7th between the final classifications. As they go through turn 3s, that stays within the track limits as leaders. The Mercedes on Mercedes, an AMG civil war here is going to erupt at the end of this race. Going to be interesting here. Can Hans go down the inside? Going to have a look here. The pink versus the blue. Mercedes covers it off very late. Moving on the braking. So you can have a look at that. But here comes Hans now up the inside there, side by side. Easton's teammate making a move down the inside. Gets it done on the exit. Those softer tyres, or the more intact tyres even, staying, giving him the advantage he needs to get that move done. Leading to stay interested though on the back of his fellow AMG, and going to be challenging here to all the way to the flag. But a man who's gone unchallenged today is Easton now, as he goes onto the bridge for the final time in an exemplary race from him. Davison matching his lap times almost with 1,000 there, 2,000 difference between these two drivers at the end of this race. But what a drive it's been from Easton, his first race in FVR.
It's been nothing short of a great drive for a man who's on course to win his first FVR race in his first season with us. Of course, we've got that battle for 7th place on the track that might be over now with the tyre advantage that Adam has over Leon. The battle for the fastest lap between myself and Ate. It's a 3-minute 3.7 to beat, but the man who's beaten everyone on track tonight, he's only got 2 more corners to go here at Sainte Croix. which feel like an absolute age since you exit the bridge. Fun fact about Sainte, when you enter the bridge, you look like you're at the end of the lap, but you still have 1 minute to go, which just shows how long this lap actually is. But it's one corner that Easton has to manage here in Sainte, and for the final time, he rounds the final corner. He's never raced an FVR GT before, but on his debut tonight, he weaves up to the line. Che Easton is an FVR GT race winner and wins here in Sainte for the French Grand Prix. Davison brings home a podium for his home manufacturer, and from pole position, Maurizio Veldhuis still claims his second podium of the season in third place with nearly a puncture to that front left. Can Ate steal the fastest lap as Mario comes across the line in fourth, Ate in fifth?
As Ate's hit the wall at the end of and spins across the line for extra style points there. Natty will take home the fast lap of the race. Piero matches his qualifying position, finishes in sixth hands after that epic battle with Kubinski earlier on in the race. Was going to finish seventh at the line here in a very good opening for the pink Mercedes team, P1 and the P7. Ruben crossed the line in eighth for the first of the Projecto Uno cars. Leadies will come over the line in ninth, and what a race here actually at Sainte. That was a very entertaining one, chased all the way home by Kubinski for 10th. It will be Hill, the last of the finishing cars here, in 11th position. That's going to round us off here for round 2 of FVR. What a race!
An incredible race at Sainte. I only just noticed that Cameron's tyres were shredded on the rears compared to the fronts, which really shows the difference between the likes of a BMW M6, which really goes through its fronts, and against that Audi R8 that went through more of its rears, which is maybe why Piero went for a two-stop in the end. But huge congratulations to Che Easton for picking up his first win in his first FVR GT race. We've had 2 races of season 4, and they've both been won by first-time winners. A very interesting start to this championship, which means Maurizio Veldhuis extends his advantage to 9 points over myself. With that brilliant race win, Easton now up into third place ahead of the absence James Kidwell. Level on points with Tyler Davison, who have both finished second place in their first races of the season, respectively. And in terms of the team's championship, it is the Cabbage crew of Cameron Hill and Maurizio Veldhuis who lead the way on 48 points, only 5 points ahead of BCR Esports, that one fastest lap point from myself, closing that gap down to just 5 points. Zav, have you got any final words after a breathtaking Sainte race?
Well, I mean, I think we were talking about there, Natty, the gap's so small. It's going to come down to consistency here in terms of who wins this championship, who can, over the course of the season, minimize their mistakes, who can be up at the front, be on the podium as much as they possibly can over the course of this season. It's not necessarily going to come down to a brute force championship. The leaders have been making mistakes. We saw last time out Jensen Taylor retiring from the first round in Croatia. Veldhuis so far just plugging away, keeping the car on track, making sure he gets things consistently done. Exactly, takes a very nice picture there to end off the stream. But yeah, very entertaining race here at Sainte, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this championship plays out as we go to round 3, and indeed for the remaining 8 rounds of the season. But yeah, from me, from Natty, I think that's going to be it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've definitely enjoyed this race, and I'm not going to lie, not too against it being back on the calendar in the future. That was a very entertaining one.
Yeah, the circuit really did actually provide some great racing, which we wouldn't really associate with a track like Sainte. We saw Barcelona last season had an absolutely great race to that, and when you ask me what track do I think that has great overtaking, Barcelona is not one that would shoot to my mind. But going into the final few races of the season, we're only at the start of the season, but going into the second half of the season, none of the top 8 have won a championship in FVR GT, which is quite an interesting start. We've had 3 different championships, and none of them are inside the top 8. Our reigning champ has yet to score points in the first 2 races, and Ate, of course, being a reserve driver this season with 10 points in 9th. We could have a new champion on our hands by the time we cross the line at Lago Maggiore for the final round of the season. Make sure to join us next week for the first sprint of the season. We have a small trip over to Italy for Sardinia A, a track that makes its FVR debut. We, of course, went to Sardinia B in Season 2 when we were in the Group 4 cars, but this time we're going around the A configuration in Group 3s. Should be a very interesting race with plenty of action and overtaking like we've had here at Sainte. I've been Nathan. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.